Good morning, everybody. I'm here at Goats with Horns Animal Sanctuary in Arizona. I'm walking over here right now to Mr. Snowy. He just is wrapping up kind of a bad choking episode this morning. He's had a few health issues going on. For those of you who might have tuned in or follow us on social media, he has just had a little hard time recently, and he's on a few different supplements, and we had started giving him some shredded beet pellets because it's supposed to kind of help him put on some weight while at the same time be easy to digest, and he was choking on it pretty bad. You are able to wet the shreds, so going forward we're going to start adding some water to it just to kind of make it easier to go down. But this is the first time that he's had an issue choking on those before, so it's kind of scary. But he is breathing now. They're probably all going to get a little excited for a second. You can see them all running. Elliot, our Sunday morning volunteer, is just getting ready to take off, and he's given a couple carrots. Everybody gets excited. We have just recently made the decision to cut way back on the amount of produce we were giving everybody, just because we've had multiple animals with health issues recently. And even though the stereotype is true, goats will eat anything. They'll chew on cardboard and tin cans and all that. Doesn't necessarily mean that they should. So we had been giving them just a little bit of all kinds of different produce, and then now that we've been dealing with these health issues and trying to um, get a little more knowledgeable on just ways to make all the animals as healthy as they can be. Hi, Gilbert. We found out there's just a few more things that maybe they shouldn't be having, that they had been eating on occasion. Nothing crazy. It's not like we were giving them things that were toxic or anything like that, but we just are trying to be a little bit more careful. And since, hay and grass is most natural and close to, these animals' diets, it's ideal that they stick to that whenever possible. We do supplement with, a little tiny bit of extra produce for Mr. Gibby here, who's having a little showdown with Albert. I might need to get out of the way just because I don't want to accidentally get bumped. These guys are both super sweet and affectionate to humans, but once they get going, they don't notice that I'm standing here. So I'll kind of give them a little space. Like I was saying, yeah, Snowy, we're glad he stopped the coughing and choking. For anybody who's just tuning in, he's been having some health issues on and off, and this morning he had a bad choking episode, which was pretty scary, kind of foaming and coughing, and we're kind of trying to pull some of the foam out of his mouth, and he does seem to be doing a little better. And he's chilled out, so we'll let him relax for the rest of the day, unlike these two guys over here who are definitely going to start a little tussle. This is Gibby on the left, the goat, and Albert, who is baying at me. He's our Suffolk sheep. They do occasionally have little disputes and tussles over dominance and the hierarchy, and I just don't want to accidentally get mixed up in that, so I'm backing up. We have sweet Miss Esperanza here, who only very gently tussles on occasion with a couple of the pygmy goats. We will go over and say hello to Thomas. So Thomas last week hurt his leg a little bit while he was on a walk, and it seemed to have been getting a little bit better. Thomas is our Dorper sheep. He was rescued from 4-H FFA. He would have been slaughtered if the high school girl who was raising him wouldn't have found out, what really happens to these animals. And luckily she was able to intervene and, buy him back. And now he lives here, but you might be able to see a little bit. He's just, his front left leg is just not doing too good. And like I said, he had been doing a little bit better. It seemed like, oh, cool, maybe it's healing. And then Friday and Saturday, yesterday, we just noticed it's just even more tender. He's putting even less weight on it, and the limp seems more pronounced. So we are going to put Thomas in here in a stall for a while, kind of just to make sure he's not, running around. Not that he's a super active guy, but this way, he doesn't have to go too far for feeding. And when we do feed hay at the troughs over here, they sometimes kind of play musical troughs. They're chasing each other around, kind of doing laps, bumping into each other, fighting over the hay, even though there's plenty for everybody. It's just what they do. And this way, Thomas doesn't have to be booted away from the trough and doesn't have to be, chased around. Sometimes a couple, Snowy and Gibby and Albert, the big boys will sometimes, bump them and things like that. We have the vet most likely coming out tomorrow. She's going to do an x-ray on that leg and check to see if there is anything we can do in regards to maybe keeping it wrapped, because he is a pretty solid boy. The amount of weight he has on it is potentially, making it worse. Obviously, that's why, we want him to be, resting as much as possible. He has been getting some, I believe it's called gabapentin. It's like an anti-inflammatory pain relief, which also has, a slight side effect of making you just a tiny bit drowsy, which also helps him to be more lazy and lethargic. Normally we wouldn't want an animal to be lazy and lethargic, but when we need him to heal and rest, that is perfect. So yeah, we got Thomas. He's going to stay in here. Miss Nala girl here is like, what's going on? Because she knows normally after the littles, all the pygmy goats usually are the ones that eat in this stall. And usually after they all finished, I open this gate up here and then Nala goes in and cleans up all the crumbs for us. Yeah, you're such a good cleaner, Nala. But today, instead of opening the gate up wide and letting, everybody come in, Elliot brought Thomas into there. He kind of lured him with a couple carrots and kind of pulled him in. So Nala's a little bit confused. She's like, why is Thomas in here? Thomas isn't a little. So I'm supposed to be in there getting the crumbs, but hopefully Thomas will go ahead and settle down now. Guess I'll do a few rounds, say good morning to some other friends over here before we jump off. We've got Rapunzel climbing up in her little cupboard, her little box. She just loves it in there. She'll get let out in a little bit here too. That's her stall where she eats breakfast. Some of you might have seen Karen the other day set up a Rapunzel cam. So there was a camera in there with her while she was eating, kind of see her routine. Got our ducky friends over here. I say friends lightly. So the two that are snoozing in this pen, they are the bestest of buds, Bruno Mars and Clyde. And then the black feathered duck that's on the other side of the fence, even though they like to keep each other company through the fence, if we were to let them in together, it would be a whole nother story. So that's why I said the word friends lightly, but they seem pretty chill right now. Oh, looks like Albert is done tussling with Gibby, so I can go ahead and give him some attention. Earlier, for anybody who's just tuning in, Albert and Gibby were doing a little headbutting, a little sparring, and so I backed off to give them space just to make sure I didn't accidentally get bumped. They wouldn't have done it on purpose. They're more of, really sweet and affectionate animals, but, they don't realize how big and strong they are. And if they're, headbutting and rearing up and going at each other, I could inadvertently get knocked into, and I was just gonna, try to avoid that. So we have Miss Peanut and her daughter Chicolette finishing up a few crumbs down here. Oh, Albert's tagging along. He's like, why is it Sundays with Snowy? It should be Sundays with Albert. He's a good boy. Let's see, who else do we have to say hello to? Well, we got a whole bunch of friends out there, but we have also Miss Plum, the hen. Some of you might remember she recently was really egg bound. We had to keep her inside for a couple weeks and give her daily Epsom salt baths, but she's doing a lot better. You can see she's moseying around, doing her thing. Nala is still waiting to go into that pen. I'm sorry, girl, it's not happening today. But we're getting ready to wrap up here, so we'll jump off. Please continue to send Snowy and Thomas some healing, healthy, positive vibes. And we will talk to you all soon. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a great day.